Esta es mi primera vez hablando en español en mi canal y estoy muy nerviosa, pero creo que puedo hacerlo. This is my first YouTube video speaking and showing you my face, so I'm very nervous, not gonna lie. Today's video was requested by somebody in a previous video, so today I am going to show you my language learning hub in my Notion. So I did get this template from another YouTuber. Her name is Anna Links. I will link her YouTube video in the description that I got it from, but I did change it a little bit. So this is my homepage, like the language learning center. So first on my homepage, I do have every single language listed out. If you do not know, or if you are new to the channel, I am learning 5 different languages. That is Korean, Spanish, Japanese, French, and Italian. But if you didn't see my last video from last week, I am learning French and Italian in different quarters of the year, so I'm technically only learning 4 and 4. Please just go watch my last video if you didn't watch that one. But my main focuses right now are Spanish, French, Japanese, and Korean. So I do have each language listed out on my homepage just so it's out there. I don't know, this was a part of the template and I think it's very cute, so I decided to keep it. Also on my homepage, I do have this cute little quote. To learn a language is to have one more window from which to look at the world, so I thought that was very cute. That was also a part of the template, so that's not an original thought. Going further down, I do have this on the left, which is my calendar view for the month. I will have a to-do list set under my calendar because I can't really set dates on this, so I will set my to-do list under the monthly view of the calendar. So for example, this is just an example day. I'm not going to necessarily do this tomorrow, but for example, on January 29th, I'm going to schedule a italki for Japanese and French. In the middle, I do have my Pomodoro method timer. Basically, if you don't know what Pomodoro is when you do a task for 25 minutes straight and then you take breaks in between. Normally, I might take 2 to 3 breaks depending on how long I want my Pomodoro session to be. But in the Notion, I thought that it was very cute that you can put the tasks that you want to complete within the Pomodoro timer. So I thought that was extremely cute. So for example, I have, when I study a language, I do need to work on grammar for maybe 25 to 30 minutes, vocab for another 25 to 30 minutes, so that's an hour right there. And then I may do another hour of italki lessons, or 30 minutes if that's all that I have. And then I also this year want to get into journaling in each language that I'm learning, because I feel like obviously that'll help extremely with the writing process. So I also thought it was cute that at the top it says Pomodoro, that says short break, and then a long break. So it does have a timer for everything Pomodoro method. So that is perfect. And then over here on the right, I do have my to-do list, which is a basic kind of to-do list for every language. So it's not language specific, but it's kind of a to-do list for when I'm studying, period, for any different language. I do want to get back into doing the Pomodoro session. I did take a break, but I do want to go back into that. I do want to take a lot more italki lessons. I did find a couple of tutors that I think I want to try out, so I will be trying that soon, and I will let you know how that goes. And then I also, have the grammar, vocab, journaling, and then I do want to take some time to intake more content consumption within that language that I'm studying at that time. For example, if I'm studying Korean, I can watch an hour of K-drama just so I can listen more, because when I'm watching, just for the sake of watching, I'm not really retaining anything. Like, I'm just reading subtitles. So I want to practice more listening. So I want to at least have an hour where I focus on actually listening. Even if I don't understand, that's perfectly fine. It's all a part of the learning process, but I really want to take some time to practice listening in each language instead of passive listening, if that makes sense. And then also I do have this cute little section for music. Nothing special about it. I just like music. But this is currently my favorite song. It's called Not City by Fuji Kaze. I'm not really sure. I've literally never heard anyone pronounce it. But that's literally my favorite song in the entire world right now. So yeah. And then scrolling down, we do have my weekly schedule. So I did have my monthly schedule, and now I have my weekly schedule under that. I don't necessarily always follow it, but it's a good guideline to have, because I don't want to go into a study session completely clueless on what I'm going to do for that day. So basically, since, like I said, I'm splitting up French and Italian in 2 different quarters because they are both Romance languages, I am right now only focusing on, like I said, French, Spanish, Japanese, and Korean. So on Mondays, I do French, Spanish, and Japanese, and I do those for however long I feel like it because I do work a full-time job, so, you know, sometimes I'm tired. Tuesdays, I do French, Spanish, and Japanese. Same with Wednesday. That's a lie. Wednesday is French, Spanish, and Korean. Same as Thursday, except minus the Spanish because I do want to take some breaks in between languages. I don't want to do like 5 days a week in a language just because I don't think I have the attention span for that. I don't know if I said Friday. To be honest, I have a short memory sometimes. Thursday I said French, Korean. Fridays is French and Korean. Saturdays is going to be review days, so that's when I review things that I've learned throughout the week. Sunday, if I feel like it, Sunday can also be part review, part learning something new in whatever language I feel like it. But for the sake of what I have on this calendar, review is for French and Spanish, and then Japanese is where I will learn something new. And then at the bottom I just have cute little inspirational quotes in each language that I'm learning right now. So then if we go back all the way up to the top, I do have this goals page, and this is split up between life goals, 2023 goals, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, and 1 week. So these are all personal goals. Like I said, I will link the template. Well, I will link Anna's video in the description below, so if you want this template, you can go ahead and download it for yourself. But I do have all of my goals set for each individual language. And then we have this cute plan and resources page. Again, I have my weekly schedule, not that I will forget, but just because it's nice to have and it's nice to look at. Scroll down a little bit more, and these are all of my resources so far for each of the languages that I'm learning. I am still extremely new with French, so I don't have that much, so you will see that. And then I also don't have any Italian yet, except for maybe stuff like italki and YouTube, because those are the basic resources that any language would have. But I don't have any Italian yet because I'm not yet starting that. I'm starting that in the 3rd quarter of the year. And as you can see, I have a lot of Japanese resources because there's a lot of Japanese resources online. So I have probably more Japanese resources than any other language, but that is not a problem. So as you can see in my table, I do have all of the resources listed on the left. And then I have what language it is in the middle, and they are all color-coded, so that's chef's kiss. And then on the right side, I do have what type of language learning, if that makes sense, that it would be. So for example, lingodeer for Korean, that's vocabulary and grammar, so that's perfect for the days when I just need to focus on grammar and vocabulary. Apps like Pimsleur, that's listening and speaking. It also can be vocabulary if you remember, I guess. So I do have a lot of different resources for a lot of different ways of learning, or means of learning, if that makes sense. So I do have a lot of different resources for listening, reading, writing, grammar, vocabulary, and so on and so forth. Moving on, I do have a daily log. I just exposed myself because the plan was to do a 30-day sprint of French and Spanish before I go to Barcelona and Paris next week, or in 2 weeks, but life happens. basically the moral of this page is whenever I study, I do a daily log of everything that I've studied that day. Pretty self-explanatory. I do also have a journals entries page, which, like I said, I do want to journal in every single language, but I'm not necessarily sure that I'm going to keep it in my Notion or if I'm just going to have 5 different journals for each language. Because I like to buy a lot of journals and then never write in them. So this is like the perfect timing. And anyways, it's the description on the left side. You have the language over here, the date that you wrote it, and then the text or whatever you're putting in your journal entry. And then last but not least, I do have a entertainment tab, which is basically all of the media things that I would need for language consumption. So starting off, I do have my current finds, which are things that I've recently found that I do want to get into. Some of them may not be recent, but I put them on my current finds so I wouldn't forget them, because there are a lot of things that I tend to forget if I don't add them to my Netflix list right away. So putting them here will make me remember, like, oh yeah, I wanted to watch this or I wanted to read this. So I do have my current finds available to me right on the front page of the entertainment tab. So starting out, I do have books. It's very small. I don't read a lot of books besides manga, but I used to back in the day, but I just don't anymore because I've become extremely busy in my adult life. But I do want to get back into reading books, especially for language learning, because I feel like that will obviously help in a lot of ways. I do also have a list of movies, TV shows, and YouTube and social media. And if you scroll down, it's nothing like super pretty, but at least it's here. At the bottom, I do have all of the different languages, and then when you click on them, I do have the list of books, TVs, movies, and YouTube and social media pages all listed within that language. So everything that's Japanese will be on this page. And the main entertainment homepage, I just have everything listed, not by language. So I did create a page for each language so that all of the books and movies and TVs and all of that would just be on that one page. So for books, like I said, nothing there. TV for Japanese is a long list because I have a long list of anime and things that I need to watch. So, as you can see, it's very long. And then I do have a couple movies that I wanted to watch. I can't wait for this to come out. That's irrelevant, but I can't wait for it to come out. And then I do have a bunch of different YouTube and social media pages that I want to follow. I do have different categories of YouTube, so if you guys want to know any of that, let me know in the comments and I can make a separate video about that. Going back, like I said, Spanish, I only have one book, which I do actually have right here. This, you know, at first when I first bought it, I was like, okay, you know, beginner, even though I'm like not a beginner, but I don't know where I am, to be quite honest. I had a tutor once and she told me I was B2 level, and I was like, girl, I think you lying. But anyways, I bought this book because I saw it was recommended, so I started reading the first story in it, and I was like, okay, I'm rocking with it, I can read this. But then we got to like the middle to the first story, and I was like, maybe I don't know Spanish. That's funny. But anyways, this is so far the only book on my list. And then I do have a couple Netflix shows and movies that I want to watch. I do only have a short list of YouTube and social media, only because when I was doing my research for this, I did get lazy and I stopped looking. And then for French, the bare minimum, because I'm still a newbie. But if you guys ever have any recommendations for any movies or TV shows, books, or anything in any of these languages, please feel free to leave them in the comments because that would be greatly appreciated. Korean, I do have a bunch of K-dramas that I did not put on this list solely because I forgot and I did not feel like signing into my apps because the laziness is real. I don't know what's going on this past week, but the laziness is real. And then I do have a couple YouTubers that I am already subscribed to. I think everybody on this list I'm already subscribed to. Some of them are just aesthetically pleasing and not necessarily language learning YouTube channels, but you should go check these people out because they're great. And then lastly, Italian, there's nothing here because I haven't started yet. So, nothing else much to see. This was just the quickest of quickest reviews of my Notion. I really don't know what else to say. I'm still a newbie at learning languages, so if anyone has any tips, tricks, or any recommendations, please feel free to put them in the comments because they would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, I am not I can't even speak English. Oh, one thing that I did forget though. On my homepage, when I have all of my languages listed right here, I do like that in the template that Anna gave, it does show, once you put the date that you started, it does show how many days that you've been learning and the last time that you studied. Please, this is so embarrassing, so please just ignore this. But I like that, the fact that it does show how many days that you've been working on it. Even if you haven't necessarily been learning like every single day, I like the fact that it does show a rough estimate of how many days you've been learning since you started the language. So I think that's pretty cool that you can track your progress with what you've been learning. But that is my Notion tour. I hope you liked it. I don't know if I'm gonna ever come back on camera again because this was weird. Thank you. Goodbye.